Okay, so a major problem that I had today was that rent was due, and rent was 6,190 renminbi, and I didn't have my money transferred over yet from the bank. Um, Bank transfers will take about 5 days because my dad transferred money to me on Thursday or Friday of last week, and then banks are open here on weekends, but in the US, they don't transfer on Sundays, I don't think, or even on Saturdays because Saturdays are closed at noon. So I needed to pay rent today, or else they actually deactivated my key and they gave me a warning notice last night. And the notice said that I have to pay between 8 o'clock in the morning till 1 o'clock today. So then I had class from 8 till noon, and then I got off and came over here and I asked if they take credit cards or debit cards or checks or anything, and they said that they don't take any of that stuff and they need cash, which I did not have. And so my key was already deactivated, so I had to go back downstairs and ask them to activate it again. And then I went to the bank, and I was there for about an hour and a half already. But the reason why it took so long was because there's these other kids. I don't know where they're from, but they're African American, and they're speaking French. So I'm assuming they might be from, I don't even know. And then they needed help opening their accounts too, but they're having a lot of troubles with their money also. And then I also sat next to a person who was from Uzbekistan, and he goes to the other university, and he was also opening an account to get money transferred too. So there were 6 people in front of me. Each person took about a half an hour, and they still couldn't figure out their account. And then it was my turn. I went there, and the bank already recognizes me because because I always look for her because she was the foreigner banker person. And then she was going to check for me, and she said that I need to come back in about 20 minutes because the person who is in charge of checking accounts, foreign accounts, was away for lunch, I think. So then I went to go eat my lunch at this place. If you walk out of the ABC Bank and you take a left, there's a place that's like tea house, but it says something in English that's like bring in home tea house or something dumb like that. I went in there and they had like a strange service. You go in there and you have to pay $20 already, even though you don't order anything. And I'm really confused because she said that you have to pay $20, but then later on she said that if you buy something that's worth $20 on like for food, then you can order a drink, whatever you want. But then another couple came in, and then they just paid $20, and then they sat down, and then they ordered 4 drinks. So I'm wondering if it's unlimited, but I don't even know. It was very strange. I had a mango milk tea with bubbles, and I had it's like a barbecue chicken or barbecue beef in a pot with an over easy egg over rice. That was okay. I think it was a very Americanized cafe. And then that totaled to $24. That was a bit expensive for lunch, but I didn't really have anywhere to go. And then I went back an hour later to the bank, and the people in front of me were still trying to figure their stuff out. And there was a lady who was sitting in front of me that was waiting there for about 3 hours, and it wasn't even her turn yet. And then my banker called me over, and then she said that looks like my money wasn't there yet, but she was gonna check for me again. So she told me to wait another 10 minutes. So then I just sat there and waited. And then 10 minutes later, she called me back, and she said that the money was upstairs and it was just transferred. So if my dad sent it on Thursday or Friday, then it took about 5 days. So good thing it got here on time, or else I would have been kicked out and I'd have to live in a hotel across the street. So then I got all that straightened out, and then I got all my cash. And then there's this like strange like Chinese guy that was trying to ask me questions while I was at the bank window. And he was like asking me something like, oh, do you go to this school? Oh, do you study English? And are you exchanging for foreign money? And I didn't want to tell him anything because that's kind of private. And what a bad time to ask, because I was being helped at a bank and I'm dealing with money, so you probably shouldn't ask me that. And I was afraid that he was going to like team up with his buddies and like steal my money when I exited the bank too, because I had a lot of money with me, the whole stack. Because you know Chinese people, they only have $100 bills, and rent was already $6,000, so I had a whole stack. So I was very careful with my money, and I kept looking back just to make sure there wasn't anyone following me, and also walk fast too, and hung onto my bag. So I got all my money taken care of. But while I was sitting there in line, I met this person who's from Uzbekistan, and he went to a college across the street, and he was there for a year. And then he's turning 24 tomorrow, and he was also getting money transferred. And he said he used to get money by China Post, which I don't think is very safe because you're getting money through the mail. And then he was telling me about all like the places for the bars and like where all the college international students go. Apparently there's like a place for like free beer. And then he said that I can hang out with his classmates whenever. So he asked me for a phone number, but I said I don't have one. I didn't want to give it out. So then he was like, oh, do you have Skype? So I was like, okay, Skype isn't that intrusive. So then I was just like, okay, Skype, that works. So I got a Skype, and then he was in a class of 15 other people. So his class is a management class and a Chinese class. So he had Chinese 2 days a week. So yeah. And today was the first day of class too. It's like a reading class and another reading comprehension, something like that, but I can show you the books. And so the books that I have, well, for today, I had this one, and then I had this book. I have no idea what it says, but this one I had Zhang Laoshi. He was a guy. He's kind of old. But this one, all we did was we had vocab, and then we read this big mess right here. We had to read like the paragraph with a bunch of new vocab. And then he made us each read a paragraph, so he'll call on us to read a paragraph. And it's been pretty overwhelming because if you can see, I have a lot of words that I don't know. And that's why it's covered in pencil, because I don't know those words. I wrote all the pinyin in there, and he also explained the meanings too. So I just took notes all in here, even though you're not supposed to write in the books until you're completely sure that you're going to be in this class. And then for this book,